This program airs statewide on California Public Television and is a California's Gold classic.
Hi, I'm Huell. Right now we've stopped to get some gas and stretch a little bit in the nice little town of Lone Pine, which is located right here on Highway 395 in the Eastern Sierra. Now this is a beautiful part of our state, and there's a lot to see here too. For example, right over there is Mount Whitney, and if you head in that direction about an hour, you'll get to Death Valley. Now I think this is about the most difficult assignment we have ever accepted, because before we could even start out, we've had to take care of a lot of little details and wait for exactly the right kind of weather. Now what we're going to do is visit two very remote and little-known places in our state in order to see two spectacular sights firsthand. I call this particular adventure Places That Are Hard to Get To, because that's exactly what they are, extremely hard to get to. So if you're interested in where these two places are and you're up for it, put on your hiking boots and come on along with us as we all continue our search together, this time to two places very hard to get to for California's gold.
Just getting to our first destination was a treat. I never get tired of looking at our magnificent Sierra Mountains. And heading north up 395, you also get to pass through some great little towns like Big Pine, Independence, Lone Pine, and Bishop. Now we were heading for the Inyo National Forest in order to see something in person few people ever see.
Okay, we're just about a mile north of the little town of Big Pine. We're still right off Highway 395, and we're hooking up with Keith Osborne from the U.S. Forest Service. Now, Keith is going to be our guide to the first hard-to-get-to place. Now, how far away is that place from where we are right now?
Well, it's about 23 miles further up the road, Huell, but it'll take us about 45 minutes to get there.
So these are little kind of windy roads we're going to go
Very
on.
much so, yes. That's right. But before we go, I want to show you something really interesting.
Okay.
Right in front of us here is a giant sequoia that was planted by Theodore Roosevelt.
President Roosevelt was out here?
That's right, yeah.
Doing what?
Well, President Roosevelt was an avid outdoorsman, and to show his interest in national lands, national parks, and so forth, he planted this tree right here on the corner, which is kind of our benchmark into Westgard Pass, which leads us into the White Mountains.
So we have a little plaque here. See, I've driven down this road a number of times,
right,
down 395, and never known or even seen this probably.
It's dedicated July 23rd, 1913.
Wow. Teddy Roosevelt.
That's right.
And look how it's grown, and look how beautiful it is.
It's almost a perfect shape.
Do you trim it to look like this?
No. That's actually pretty common for a sequoia in its early age. This is not too old, as you can see. These grow up to be about 3,000 years old, and this one is under 100 right now.
Wow,
so,
it's a beautiful tree. Well, Teddy Roosevelt was here, and if it was good enough for Teddy Roosevelt, it's good enough for us.
That's right, that's right.
Let's head on out and go to our first hard-to-get-to location. We're in our vehicle, and we'll just, since we don't know where we're going, we'll just follow you.
Sounds good.
Although going down this little road, I don't know how we can get lost. We're off.
Okay.
And off we were, heading out across some terrain that seemed to change every few minutes. First, there was open country. Then the road got windy and hilly. And then we were driving through an area with a lot of rocks on both sides. And then we reached the high country, over 9,000 feet up. In fact, this area is only open 4 months a year. The rest of the time, it's completely snowed in. We were definitely heading somewhere off the beaten track.
Okay, we have gone as far as we can go by vehicle. We have now reached the Discovery Trail. Those are the white mountains in front of us. And we're going to go the last couple of miles by foot.
That's right. We're almost there. You just stick with me, Huell. I'll take you right up to our final destination here.
So we're almost there.
Yes,
I feel
almost.
like we have been on a journey, a long journey to get here.
No, we're real close.
But it's going to be worth it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Now, I've been on a lot of hikes in my life, but I don't think I have ever seen a view quite as spectacular as this one. You live up here. Do you ever get tired of looking at this?
No way. This is fantastic, and I really can't remember it being this beautiful. The heavy rainfall we had this year has really made the snowfall on the Sierra really come out, and it is truly beautiful.
I'll tell you what, I'm also out of breath. We're at 9,000 feet. There's no air up here.
Actually, no. We're up at 10,100 feet. So
No wonder.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm out of shape. There's just no oxygen, right?
That's right. There's quite a bit less oxygen up here, and because this is a dry mountain range, that even compounds the problem more. So,
because we may have to stop it. Let's stop and rest for just a minute, and Louis, just look at this view with us out here. This is a nice place to rest and catch our breath. Well, we are finally here.
yeah, Huell, we are. This is Schulman Grove in the ancient Bristlecone Pine Forest. And in case anybody's wondering what makes this place so special, is it's home to the oldest continuous living things on the planet Earth.
Now, when you say these are the oldest continuously living things on the planet Earth, how old are they? How old is this tree?
Well, this tree, I don't know its exact age, Huell, but my guess would be it's over 3,000 years old at least.
Really?
Yes.
How do you tell that? Are there rings on the trees? Or?
Yeah, we do a coring process with a Swedish increment bore, where we core into the tree, and we're able to take out a small cylinder of the inner tree, count the rings, and determine its age. And we can do all of this without actually harming the tree.
Yeah. How can trees live 3,000 years?
Well, that's a very special story, and it's unique to the bristlecones. Part of it is the soil that we're standing on.
There is no soil. It's all rocks.
That's right. This rocky soil here is called dolomite, and it's a calcium magnesium carbonate. It's originated from the bottom of an ocean floor, believe it or not. And as these mountains were formed, it was uplifted and brought to this elevation. And it provides a special soil or growing condition for these trees. It's an alkaline soil, believe it or not.
A lot of them look like they've been burned or they've been struck by lightning. That's what it is, right?
Some of them have, and sometimes the bark just gives that appearance. As it's been weathered by blowing ice and snow and so forth, it gives that kind of burned, dark appearance to the wood.
Very strange, eerie looking trees.
Yes, almost like they were sculpted, yes. It's a very dry mountain range, and these trees are adapted to drought conditions. And because of that, they grow very, very, very slowly and develop a very resinous wood that is resistant to insects and decay.
So this is hardwood.
Very hard wood, yes.
Now, is this tree dead?
This tree is dead, yes.
I don't see any green on it at all.
Yeah. And the dead trees provide really something special to the area as well, because scientists have been studying the dead trees, working a chronology back, studying climate and dating archaeological sites using this old wood.
So these trees up here are all green. They're all still alive.
That's correct.
And they're all mixed in with the dead ones. Where is the oldest bristlecone pine tree? Can you show that one to us?
No, I can't show that one to you, unfortunately. It is here at Schulman Grove. It's on the Methuselah Trail, but we don't mark it. It's 4,722 years. And
4,722 years. You got it down to the year.
To the year, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and because of in honor of its great age, we don't mark it, just to keep it.
Well, you don't want anybody to know.
Yes, yes.
Boy, look at this again. It's such a wonderful juxtaposition. These 2,000, 3,000, 4,000-year-old trees looking out across to the Sierra with the glaciers in them.
Yes.
And realizing that it's looked like this, standing right here for 4,000 years.
That's right. That's
At
right.
least.
Yes. Yeah, it's a real contrast looking across at the Sierra and how wet it is over there, and then how dry it is here. It really gives you.
But don't you? I thought you got 4 feet of snow here every year.
We do, but that's all. It averages out to be about 12 inches of rainfall a year.
Oh, I got you.
So all of these trees are drought adapted.
Now, what is this?
Isn't this great? Right off the trail is a young bristlecone. Probably,
This is a bristlecone.
Yeah, only about 50 or 60 years old. But you can see it's got the 5 needles that all bristlecones have, and starting to get that shape that's pretty...
It looks like a little Christmas tree.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's so interesting because of the contrast between this young little bristlecone and the old stuff that is so twisted and gnarled and aged.
Yeah. What's amazing is just the small size, with 4 feet tall probably, and still quite old, 50, 60 years old in terms of the...
How much do these things grow a year? Do you know? Have you figured that out?
Well, it depends upon where they grow.
Yeah.
On a slope like this probably may only grow an inch, 2 inches a year. So,
wow, so it's going to be a while.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We'll be long gone, and someday somebody will be walking along here looking at this one all twisted and gnarled the same way we've been looking at the others.
Yes.
Wow, look at that. A little baby bristlecone, only 50 years old. They've got little pine cones on.
Yeah, these pine cones, unlike most pine trees, these cones stay on the tree for 3 years before they mature and fall. So.
Okay, so here's one that's, whoa, here's one that's fallen off.
Yeah, in fact, if you take this cone and you run it between your hands, you'll discover why these trees are called bristlecones.
What happens? Here, hold my mic. Like this?
You feel those bristles? Yeah.
Yeah, they're sticky. Now, can I take this home as a souvenir?
Absolutely not. And that's really an important thing to mention. This is a botanical area. It was designated by Congress as such, and because of that designation, it's protected. Nothing can be taken out. No wood or plants or rocks or the pine cones can be taken.
Not even a single pine cone.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to put it, I'm also going to fall off the mountain.
Right.
I'm going to put it back kind of where I found it.
Okay, great.
And I'm clean. I'm not carrying a single piece of wood with me.
That's good.
You know, you can say that a tree is a couple of thousand years old.
Yeah.
But to actually be standing next to something that is alive from nature, that has been sitting right here on this rocky mountain for 3,000 years, growing, it's, I mean, I don't know whether this is going to translate on the air or not, but it is it's quite an experience.
Oh, yes, it really is. Just to be able to visit the forest, to sit down next to these things, and just to reach out, touch them, and to feel that if they could speak and what they could tell us about history and so forth, it's just an amazing concept.
Leaving the White Mountains and the magnificent Bristlecone Pines, we got back on Highway 395 heading north, and then turned off on Route 120, which is known as Tioga Pass. Now this has to be one of the prettiest drives in our state. The destination for our next hard-to-get-to adventure was in Yosemite National Park, specifically in an area known as Tuolumne Meadows. We pulled into the Tuolumne Meadows Lodge late afternoon and spent the night in tent cabins.
Good night. Well, after a great night's sleep in our tent, it's now about 7 o'clock the next morning. We're here at the Tuolumne Meadows stables. Lots of mules here. All of them up bright and early this morning. A beautiful morning, a great day for a hike back to our next hard-to-get-to place. And this is what we're going to be going on right here.
Now, the mules didn't look too excited about it, but we were excited, putting on our helmets, which are now required for safety reasons, putting on our sunscreen because we were high up, over 8,500 feet, and the sun was bright, and finally saddling up and making sure the stirrups were adjusted just right. You see, in order to get to our ultimate destination, we were traveling by mule pack train, which was a first for me. We were heading 9 miles back, deep into the park. And to get there, our guides from the Tuolumne Meadows stables took us through some of the most beautiful country on the face of the earth.
That's what you see. That's the kind of stuff you see when you're on the trail in Yosemite. Now, I am amazed at how sure-footed these mules are. Is that because they know the way?
Well, it's partly because of that, but it's mostly just because the mules are like our four-wheel drive vehicles. They're rough, they're made for the mountains, and yeah, they are used to all the rocky trails.
Wow. Because I'm not doing anything. My mule is just following your horse, and I'm not pulling on the reins or doing anything.
Well, that's why we use mules for you guys, and I ride a horse.
This is what you call an easy ride. And a tight fit. Now watch these mules go down these steps. It's an amazing thing. They don't miss a beat, and we're going straight down. I don't know how they do it, but none of them have tripped all day long. And we're going straight down these rocks. This is the most spectacular view I think I've ever seen in my whole life, looking out over here. Look at this. This is nature. Come on, Clarabelle. Up the hill. Whoa! Sheridan, you suggested we stop here to water the horses and mules, and I can see why. This is absolutely magnificent. It's like a postcard.
Isn't it? It really is like a postcard. It gives you such a beautiful view of the Cathedral Range. You can notice Echo Peaks, and kind of in the distance is Cathedral Peaks. This is one of the loveliest shots in the whole park, I believe.
Are the mules happy to be stopped here with this fresh water and the...
Oh, certainly, certainly.
I mean, let's talk about the mules just a little bit, because they're rather remarkable animals.
They certainly are, and they really belong up in this high country. They're really kind of this is their home.
Now, what do you mean belong up here? Because, you know, I've been amazed at how they operate on these narrow little rocky paths and all of that.
Yeah, they're much better than horses, actually, and even though they have each one has a different temperament, as you've certainly noticed. Each of your mules is a little bit different, but whenever they get in trouble, they have a lot of common sense, and that's a real important thing up here in this country. Sometimes things will happen to them where they'll maybe fall over in the snow or something and get caught in ropes, and they'll just wait, whereas a horse will explode and be a real problem for you and perhaps kill himself and hurt you.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Clarabelle, because Clarabelle has been a pretty good mule so far, but she stops and eats whenever she wants to.
That's right. Well, one of the things, she's a big mule and she's used to getting her way, and so I've noticed that you've been showing her that you're pretty big too and controlling her.
No, I'm not. She's been doing whatever she darn well pleases.
Well, yeah, that's probably somewhat true, yeah.
Well, when we started up again after watering our mules, we still had about 3 more miles to go before we reached our final destination. A 3-hour journey that took us through all kinds of terrain, like this open area of solid rock. And then we went up and down narrow rocky trails and across fast-flowing streams. All of this to get to a very special place in the park, a place that few people ever visit. And as soon as we got there, I knew the long mule trip had been worth it.
I'm so anxious to see this. Oh, wow. And there it is, Louis. What we've come all this way to see, which is really pretty spectacular. What are we looking at? What are we looking at?
Well, we've made it to the Conte Falls, which is in the Grand Canyon of the Tuolumne River.
And I guess all of this...
This is still the
Grand
Falls Ridge.
Canyon.
Yep, we're looking right down to it. It's heading towards Hetch Hetchy, which holds San Francisco's water. And this falls was named after a University of Berkeley professor by the name of Joseph LeConte, who came up here with a lot of trips. And the water wheel action that you see happening here is caused by the water hitting a rock and almost backfiring and coming around and forming that circular motion.
So that's what we're really here to see, is the water wheel that's coming up there.
And ironically, the water wheels here at LeConte are bigger than at the actual Water Wheel Falls, which is about a mile down the road.
Really?
You can see that it's sort of dipping down a little bit. The water's coming down and then it's hitting a rock inside of a dip and it's firing back up.
Yeah.
So it's coming up and just really being propelled straight up and a little backwards, so it curls.
So you got one up here.
One here.
Way up there you've got one.
Two here. Two here. Maybe
Two
almost
here.
three.
Wow. Now how slippery is it out here?
Well, I'll tell you what, you're not going to get me out there, that's for sure. That would be a one-way ride.
Well, no,
the camera would be following
we have
me
kind of
all
an
the way
adventure. We have kind of an adventure series here.
Oh, I see, I see. Hard to get to places, huh? So how do you get to them, though, is the question.
Because this is really, I mean, once you started,
That would be it.
you'd end up
In Hetch Hetchy.
down there.
That's right. You'd probably come out of a faucet in San Francisco somewhere.
That's great. Now, are there fish in there?
You bet. There are a lot of trout.
Coming over the...
You
You can
bet.
see them, watch, but, oh no, sometimes you can.
What kind of fish?
Trout. A lot of brown trout and occasional rainbows. The best fishing here, which is, a lot of people don't know that, but the flat areas are not the best places to fish. It's down in some of these little pools, like right down below, where people really catch the fish.
Well, we've spotted a couple down here who look like they're just kind of sitting here and enjoying it all. What are you doing here today?
Well, we're taking a break, coming out for a couple of nights, going backpacking.
Have you ever been here before?
Nope, never have.
What do you think about it?
It's great. Picked a good year to come.
Yeah,
With
lots of water. You know, I'm wondering how this is going to translate to people at home, whether they're going to be able to tell how absolutely wonderful it is here.
I know the grandeur is pretty hard to capture when you're at home watching on a TV screen.
Yeah.
You really have to be here and see all the cliffs and put it all in perspective. The amount of water coming here is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just this year or whether it's always like
Well,
this.
you're wearing a hat that says that's incredible.
Yeah, maybe that says it all.
What do you think when you sit here and look out like this?
Well, I feel pretty lucky to be here, for one thing. I'm fortunate I can get here on my own 2 feet and really enjoy it. It's wonderful that it's been set aside for all of us to enjoy, and we live in a fabulous, fabulous state.
Yeah.
Beautiful part of the country to be in.
Yeah.
I love it.
What do you think about this place? When you're here, do you wish more people could come and see this for themselves? Or are you glad that it's so hard to get to that not many people do get here? Be honest.
That's a toughie.
Yeah.
I think I'm glad it's hard to get to. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and you're going to take it back so people at home can see. But I think the reward of working to get here, hiking, getting a few blisters on your feet, riding, whatever way you get here, I think it's a reward to see it. I don't know. How do you feel, Jeff?
What do you think?
It's a lot more special than if the road came down right here and you pulled off and looked out your window, for sure.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone can get here, too. And so
Well, they just have to make an effort.
just got to make the effort, that's right.
So if we had been standing here at least hundreds of years ago, looking out here like this, it would have looked exactly the way it looks right now.
Pretty much, pretty much.
I mean, you don't see anything made by man around here.
That's right, that's right. That's one of the things I really marvel about being in this high country. The fact that someone had the presence of mind to create parks, taking beautiful places and protecting them so that they'd be here for us. I think that's a pretty amazing thing that some people had the foresight. I guess that's why John Muir is so heroized here by almost everyone.
You think he stood kind of where we're standing right now and looked up here?
I'm sure, and he said, let's just protect this environment right here, yeah. Because you can imagine we'd have condos all up and down here. I'd sure live in one if I could.
No condos.
No, it's so spectacular. It's wonderful to come here every year and see the same thing. Nobody's logged anything, nobody's done anything to change it, and that's one of the magical qualities about this place, I would say.
Now, do you think the people who come out here with you on the pack mule trains that you run, leave here with something that they maybe didn't have when they started out?
I think they do. I think there's a lot of people that don't know what they're coming for. Like you said before, what are they coming for? And I think a lot of people don't know at all. And that way they have no expectations and they can leave with a piece of something for themselves.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn out here, and there's a lot of space, there's a lot of space to think and be with nature. It's a good experience.
Well, unfortunately, that's the end of our visit to two very hard to get to places here in our state. But if you've stuck with us on this little adventure, I think you'll agree that both our visit to the ancient Bristlecone Forest and finally here to Conte Falls on the Tuolumne River in Yosemite, even though they were hard to get to, both were well worth the effort. And both are indeed spectacular examples of California's gold. To be completely honest with you, as I say goodbye, I really hate to leave this place. It is indeed a special place. Goodbye, everybody. Well, it's a classic, all right, and if you'd like to see this California's Gold adventure again, share it with your family and friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library. It's available on DVD. It's also on another very special DVD containing 10 of your all-time California's Gold favorites. To order, all you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.